Most new agents quit within 18 months, not because they aren't talented, not because the market is hard, but because nobody told them the truth about what it takes those first couple of years. Today, Tami and I are going to share the raw, unfiltered version, what we wish we had known, what we got completely wrong, and what actually moves the needle when you're starting from zero. So if you're watching this, you may be a new licensee and maybe you stumbled across this video on YouTube and you're wondering what it's like your first year in the real estate business. Tami, how was your first year in the real estate business?
It was a lot of work and not a lot of pay.
That's a good way to sum it up. That's what you can expect. We could cut the video right there. So yeah, in a nutshell. But I think having good expectations about that is a very valid statement, and I think probably would be echoed across many. And comment below if you've been in the business for a while. That may be how you're feeling.
And you don't know what all expenses you're going to encounter setting up your business in real estate. They don't tell you that in real estate school. When you interview with a brokerage, they usually don't tell you that either. And as soon as you affiliate, you get this long list of expenses that you weren't prepared for. And I think we should have more clarity when we're talking to new agents about what does it really cost to get into real estate.
That's very true. Pre-licensing course, if you're in class right now, let me tell you right now, pre-licensing teaches you how to maybe pass the test, maybe not. It might take a few tries. It does not teach you about the marketing, the expenses associated with activating your license. And guys, of course, every board has their own initiation fees and dues. And, of course, if you're in North Carolina, you're watching this, you're probably a member of NAR, NCAR, and a local board. Plan for that. Like, ask questions because some of them are prorated, some of them are not, but it's not cheap to get started just to say you're a realtor before you make
it. It is not. And you have an MLS fee, so you can be a part of the MLS. If you start out as a buyer's agent, you have to be in there to set a search. Mm-hmm. If you list a property, you have to be in there. It's a non-negotiable to be a part of our MLS. There are fees associated with getting in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think the appeal to a lot of new agents is the prospect of making a ton of money, and you certainly can, but be realistic and know how costly it is just to get started. Now, I think to keep in perspective, how many other careers can you pay for a pre-licensing course, some startup fees, and, if you work hard, you can make six figures, you can make a good income and be a business owner. That's very appealing, but it does take a very specific mindset to get there. And it takes, I think, a little nest egg.
I agree. It definitely takes a little nest egg. And it also takes time to just feel like you're ready to talk to that first client. So you have to be willing to go through some training and processes to be ready for that first client.
Yeah.
And that's the time you're putting into your business that you're not going to see an immediate return. Yeah. I've always been told it's a 90-day business. Mm-hmm. The things I'm working on this week will probably pay me in 90 days. Mm-hmm. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about before you get into real estate. Yeah. That is a long game as you build that business.
Yeah. And I think momentum is kind of a big word that I like to look at it as. It takes a while to get started because this is a business in which you are paid for the value that you bring. And as we always talk about, educate yourself, inform yourself, know what you're doing, and work harder than the guy beside of you. But it does take a little bit of time to figure out what you're doing to make sure that you do bring value that's worth compensating.
It does. And who do you talk to begin with anyway?
Yeah.
A lot of new agents have a question. Okay, I need to talk to somebody. Who do I need to talk to today?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I cannot overemphasize enough, interview and tour multiple firms and align yourself somewhere that you feel like they're going to take the time to invest in you, because this can be a very isolating business. And I cannot tell you how many stories I have run across that agents that they have so much potential and they're wonderful people. They bring a lot to the table, but nobody is showing them how to make all those pieces fit together, or they are afraid to apply those skills because they don't feel like they have the support in case they run into a problem.
Right.
It's scary to pursue on yourself, like on your own.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we become the sum of 5 people that we surround ourselves with. Mm-hmm. if you surround yourself with quality education mind agents who are here to support, you're going to grow further and go faster to getting paid than if you surround yourself in a firm where there's closed doors, there's no openness about how do I get started in this business.
Yeah.
And that is a big thing that sets apart firms like True North.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I agree. That's definitely the culture that we've tried to build here. And I can't overstate, environment is everything. Like, you can be a good seed that's in the wrong soil. And there's a lot of really good seeds that just kind of get out of the business. I can't remember what the rate Adriano had shared on a previous video of just how many agents fall out of the business. And I can't help but think that so many of those instances didn't have to happen. Don't be short-sighted whenever you first get licensed and you're looking for a firm. Just recognize that not the flashiest, biggest, cheapest firm to work at, that may not be the best place to establish yourself. Focus, I would say, more on the mentorship, the training, the support, and the vibe, I guess is the right word. Just people that are celebrating your success and not gatekeeping you from their success, because that is a lot of what you find in our industry, unfortunately, because it is a solo sport for as an agent, don't you think?
I do think. And I also think seasoned agents can learn from newer agents. We get complacent when we've been in the business a while. Some deals fall in our laps and we're not working as hard to get that next transaction, where these new agents come in hungry. And what do I do? When you have the environment where we're all working together to be better as a firm, better agents, you see everybody succeeding and you celebrate that. And I like to see that collaboration within an office versus doors are shut or people don't even come to the office because they don't want someone to overhear a conversation.
Yeah. That's I think unnecessary. I think when everybody brings their best to the table, like, everybody wins. And so when you're brand new, if you're watching this and you're you saw the title, you're like, oh, 0 to 30 deals, that would be nice. It's a marathon, guys. It's not a sprint. Like, you have to look at the long game, educate yourself, surround yourself with people that are going to invest in you. And the reality is, as you said, you're going to do a lot of work before you see a paycheck from it. And it absolutely does feel like, 90-day, 100-day cycle of the work you do today. You may not get paid on that for a while. And that is why I think probably the first piece of advice I would have for a new agent is just be financially prepared for it, especially if you're going cold turkey from your previous job and jumping in full time. Don't you think?
Yes, I agree. You need to have the ability to pay your bills for 3 to 6 months as a new agent if you're not going to have that dual career.
Yes.
And you will make money faster if you are able to focus solely on real estate.
Yeah.
However, we do have dual career agents who are with this firm, and they all have goals and they use whatever time they have very purposefully.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's important, that you are purposeful with your time, whether you're a dual career or you're full-time real estate.
Yeah.
Have the time each day that you are actually working on building your business.
Yeah.
And don't let it come to you.
I agree. I think part of the double-edged sword of this business is the freedom, because if you don't create your own structure, your day will get away from you and you'll look back and think, I spent 0 minutes on true money-making activities. And in this business, like, you have to be intentional about your time, especially if you're transitioning from another job. And you're right. We see agents all the time that transition from a job that maybe gives them some flexibility where they can pursue this. It'll take longer. And you're going to feel like you are working overtime, and you are. Hopefully you have a goal in mind and you've talked through that and you have a business plan and you've structured to use your time wisely. It can absolutely be done, but it does take takes a lot of grit early on just to stay in it, and to build that momentum,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I was first licensed, someone from a local brokerage said to me, you won't make it 2 years. That was not an encouraging environment. And we don't want new agents to feel that we're setting them up to fail. We're here to provide the mentorship, accountability, and support. And when you have those things in your corner as a new agent, you're probably going to succeed faster, and you're going to see that momentum build where you're not spinning your wheels trying to figure out how to get started.
Yeah. Because the fact is this industry is full of gray areas, things that, and what I love is we have agents that they're like, look, I want to do the right thing. I want to make sure I'm doing this properly. Who are you going to ask if you're in that situation? Like have people around you that have the experience, the knowledge, and the willingness to help you that aren't so focused on just their own production or just their own growth. I think there's something to be said for just surrounding yourself with good examples of people that you look up to and respect and have the time to like stop and talk to you and help you. Because there's going to come a lot of times in this business where pre-licensing didn't touch it, and no matter how long you've been in the business, there's always going to be a curveball. So having people around you to, talk through things with, that's huge starting out.
Every transaction is different. No two things go the same whenever you're going through a listing or with a buyer. And it's important to have somebody you can ask questions. I think I'm the queen of unique. I don't know about you. All of the things that can come up seem to come up with mine on the regular.
Yeah.
And having somebody else that you can say, hey, you've been in this business longer than me. Have you been through this? How did you get through it?
Yeah.
And new agents really need that support in the back end.
Absolutely. And it almost seems like a rite of passage, and not to scare you new folks, but some of our new agents, it seems like some of their first early transactions, man, like it's like, wow, I promise they're not all this way, but I always remind them at the end of it, I'm like, look at what a stronger agent you are now, because calm seas don't make a skilled sailor. Like the more you navigate all these weird situations, man, you learn so much, and you take that to the next transaction. And you're going to learn something there too. And newsflash, you never get to the point where you feel like, you know everything, because it's always changing. So that's where education comes in. It's just constantly learning, bettering what you do, because that allows you to establish your value with your clients and to know that you're advocating for them in a way that they deserve. And that's going to perpetuate your business and build momentum, because one happy client leads to another happy client. Don't you feel like momentum is kind of a big thing in this business because it's such a referral-based thing?
It is. And what I like to share with new agents is you feel like you grind and grind and grind, and then suddenly your business just opens up. Mm-hmm. And we see that through the shifts in the market as well. Mm-hmm. Most of us experienced a slowdown with our buyers when interest rates went up. And now we're seeing we're in a more balanced market, so there's more negotiations. Having the ability to grow and learn with that market as it changes, and forms change every July in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So there are times that we've done something the same way for years, and our real estate commission says, hey, wait a minute, we're going to change just this one thing in the contract, or we're going to change 20 things. Yeah. And we have to be ready to adapt to those changes, communicate it with our clients. And the best way to do that is to have an environment where you're working as a brokerage, to go through those contracts and say, what's new this year? How does that protect us as a firm and our buyers and our sellers?
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I've always equated it to with new agents is it's like a trust fall. You're coming into a brokerage and you're about to jump and you're about to do something you've not done before, and you're a little nervous and you want to make sure somebody's going to catch you. And if you're in an environment where you're afraid to jump because you look behind you and nobody's there, you're in the wrong place. Because you're going to need catching. You're going to need somebody to help support you through those transactions, because these are big legal things. It should scare you a little bit. You are helping somebody make a very large purchase, or you're marketing a very large asset that they own. That's a lot to be entrusted with. So I don't want you to take that lightly. I want you to understand the gravity of it and understand that you really shouldn't carry that alone starting out. I think it's a little naive to think that you don't need support. And if you're in it for any length of time, you realize, as you said, the people you're around, it sets the tone for what's ahead for you. And I think that goes for, there's both ends of the spectrum. I think it's good to be in rooms that people inspire you, and be in rooms where there's people that sharpen you and better you, but also be in rooms that there's a potential to grow. Like plan for success and make sure that you're in a place that can grow with you, because you can also limit yourself too by starting off too small,
You can. And as an agent, you're always going to feel like, I don't know enough if you're a good agent, because you're going to want to learn.
Yeah.
And you want to be the smartest person in the room when you sit down with the client and talk about the real estate transaction, whichever side you're on.
Yeah.
Because we all know they're using AI to guide them to get them to that point, and they are second guessing themselves. When you sit down with confidence because you've spent the time educating yourself, having conversations within your brokerage, you are confident when you sit down with your client that you are the smartest person in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. And that they're paying you for your guidance. And if you're brand new, you may feel like, well, I don't know what I have to offer yet. Like that's okay. That's normal to feel that way. But that is also why it's important to align with a team that does bring something to the table, because it doesn't have to be me and I. It can be we and us and my team and my colleagues. Because starting out, part of your value proposition is the team you are on. And part of your ability to feel confident in those rooms is to know that if you don't know the answer, somebody does. And get comfortable with saying that, of saying, you know what, I don't have the answer to that, but let me get my BIC on the phone. We're going to get that sorted out, and then then you learn something. So get used to that feeling, I guess, get used to learning. What do you feel like if you had to give advice to a new agent? How do they spend the first 30 days of their career? How do you recommend that they kick off their first month in the real estate business?
If they're ready to work, they need to be in the office every morning, ready to learn whatever we may have set up for them for that day. Work closely with their mentor, ask the questions. Where do I find this? How do I look this up? How do I educate myself?
Yeah.
And then sit down and actually practice with someone.
Yeah.
What do I say in a buyer's consultation? What do I say if I have a listing appointment? And then be comfortable being uncomfortable, calling your friends, family, and loved ones and saying, hey, I'm in real estate. Do you know anybody who may be looking to do something in real estate? I feel like the first 30 days are very uncomfortable as you come out of real estate school and all the things they tell us to stay out of real estate jail.
Yeah. They kind of run scared.
They
They're
do.
like, nervous.
They do.
Yeah.
And I don't remember going over one contract in real estate school. I just knew that there were some esoteric things out there with the contracts, but we didn't really go over them.
Yeah.
And now suddenly I'm expected to sit down and go over a contract with a client. So those first 30 days are absorbing, what does it mean to be a real estate agent?
Yeah. Yeah. We always say, don't be a secret agent. Like one of the first things you do is tell people that, hey guys, I'm in real estate now. This is a referral-based business. You of course have your sphere. The benefit of that when you're new, especially, they don't care that you're new. They know how you are and they know how you will operate and that you're going to do the very best job for them. So they're already rooting for you. So that's of course where you start. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, so much about real estate is setting that structure for yourself, creating opportunities, knowing that it is kind of a numbers game. It's about, we always tell new agents, become a professional appointment setter. Like create so many opportunities for yourself and don't get attached to the outcome. Just put yourself in opportunities where you're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to get better at this. Some of them are going to pan out, some of them won't. If you go on a listing presentation and you don't get it, fine, go on to the next one. Try again. You're going to get better at it. There's no way to excel at a sport unless you put in practice, unless you get in all the reps. I equate it like a boxing ring, sometimes you just got to get in there, get knocked around a little bit, loosen up, just get in the practice of doing the things that make you uncomfortable and do it consistently. Because a lot of new agents, they'll try something for a little bit and then they just stop and they wonder why it didn't work out. So I feel like consistency is important too.
It is important.
Yeah.
In 2020, my first quarter, I had one sale for $50,000. And last year, I sold 50 homes.
See?
So the consistency and the view that it is a long game and you develop the relationships through the conversations you're having with people. Yes. So you can start very small and it can grow.
Yeah.
Your effort and what you put into it is how you grow.
Yeah. And I think you are such a good example of somebody that you value education, you nurture relationships, you invest in those around you, and very immersed in the community. And, really become such an authority on the ins and outs of how the business operates. Like that's very, in a relatively short career, that is a rapid success. And I think if there was a textbook on how to apply all of this, and that's why you're mentoring our new agents. I'm like, let's get more Tammys in the world, But that's, that is a beautiful example, and to show that trajectory and that growth. And, most people's first year, it looks a little lean, and it looks like, man, did I choose the right career path? Like I'm doing a lot of work. I hadn't been paid yet. I don't really know if I know what I'm doing. You got to be around people that encourage you and help support you through that, because you will get over that hump.
You will. And surround yourself with people who remember being that new agent.
Yeah.
Who remember that feeling, and they can encourage you and support you through that and say, what can we do today to make you a little bit better?
Yeah.
And bring you a day closer to getting paid.
Yeah. And aren't threatened by your growth and your success, because I get it. When you're in a brokerage, you're on the same team, but you're all independent contractors. You're all pursuing your own business. You need to look at yourself as a business owner now. If you're in real estate, you are an entrepreneur. You need to treat this, like you said, like you get up, you go to work. Just because you can stay home and work doesn't mean you should stay home and work. Like make structure for yourself, track your time, set goals. One of the first things we do here is sit down and do a business plan and goal setting, because we want to know what makes you tick. Like take a look introspectively at like, okay, what's my natural challenges here? Am I somebody that could kind of spin my wheels if I'm not careful? Okay, well, let's set up guardrails for myself, because you're managing yourself. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. And I think that's one of the big challenges for new agents. If you're coming out of a traditional W-2 job, some of you may be doing this as a second career. Some of you may be doing this as a fresh out of college and thought, this looks fun. I've always wanted to do it. Depending on what your context is prior, we've had former military that get into this. Sometimes the lack of structure is really hard to overcome, because you kind of got to make it yourself. Don't you agree?
I do agree. And when you're setting that goal, it's important to know why you're setting the goal. What that number is should represent something that means something to you. So when you do hear no, 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 you're just one more step closer to the yes.
Yes.
And you're closer to that goal. So you need to know what drives you to make the money. And if you're leaving a W-2 job, it's often income and benefits that you're replacing as an independent contractor.
Yeah.
And you're paying more taxes.
Yeah. Yay. We could do a whole video about taxes. You're self-employed.
It's important to know that why, what drives you.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that will help you set the structure. Because if you need to get up and you have to make those phone calls to buy groceries this week or in 3 months, then you know what you've got to get up and do.
Yeah.
You can't just stay in your PJs with your slippers on. You need to get dressed down to the shoes and take yourself into the office and be the professional agent that you are.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't agree more. And if you're watching this, just to kind of, encourage you, this business is nothing but opportunity. It can be overwhelming at first to think about, this is your opportunity to design the life you want. And there's a lot of power in that. And that should, I think there's two ways to be motivated. There's running towards something and running from something. Think about what you want life to look like. What is your ideal? You can give yourself a raise in this business. You really can. That's exciting. Like pursue that. And it's not about willpower. It's about why power. What's your why? And that's one of the first things that I think to sit down and think about when you're starting this business. What do I want life to look like? What do I want a legacy for my children? What opportunities do I want to create for our family? What investments do I make? What car do I want to drive? Not just material things, but what life feels like and the freedom you have in that. And maybe it's not a bad idea to look backward too and say, I don't want to be stuck at a 9-to-5 again. I want this freedom. So sometimes running from something or running towards something helps you accept the inevitable rejection that you're going to feel sometimes getting started in this business, the inevitable feeling that, man, I just don't know if I'm making progress. I it's another month. I've been working and putting in all this effort, and you don't have a direct deposit every Friday. It's just not like a W-2. But man, it can be so much more, and that's what's exciting to me for new agents.
It is. It's like the snowball going down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
The more effort you put into it, the more your business will grow.
Yeah. It will eventually take on a life of its own.
It will.
And it can feel really grindy and hard in the beginning of just, putting in the effort and feeling like you're kind of just getting along. But just know there is light at the end of the tunnel. You do have to stick with it. And having the right team around you, I think, is really instrumental in that, and making sure that you feel encouraged and people see the work. I think it's important, especially in the world we live in with social media. I would also encourage you, don't compare yourself to other people's journeys. Like, this is your journey. And if you are showing up for yourself more consistently today than you were last week, well, you are making progress, and you will bear the fruit of that, and you'll see it. So I would also caution, don't compare yourself to others. Be inspired by others, learn from others, but don't ever, if you find jealousy creeping in, or, what are they doing? Just focus on your path. You are unique, and there's something about your background that's going to equip you specifically to doing this business very well. And stay focused on that, and emphasize that, and better that, and celebrate that about yourself. Like, don't compare yourself to others, because you see that a lot too.
Well, social media has made us all compare our insides to other people's outsides.
Yeah.
We're not seeing their insides.
Yeah.
We don't know what is going on in their life, really. We're getting the highlight reel.
Uh-huh. And you see you're behind the scenes, and you're like, man, my life doesn't look like that. Theirs doesn't either.
We know there are top producing agents who are doing lots of deals and looks like they make a lot of money when you look at their GCI, their gross commission income.
Yeah.
What's their profit?
Yeah.
What's the bottom line?
Yeah.
There are agents out there who spend a tremendous amount of money for the business and paying for leads and doing things where they're not having to talk to people and generate themselves. And in the end, they may be losing money.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here comparing yourself to that agent who looks like the top agent of the world.
Yeah, that's a very true point.
And in the end, they may not be making $10,000 in profit that year.
Yeah.
So what have they accomplished?
And, I think that's also, there's a lesson to be learned in that for a new agent, of setting yourself up in a way that you are managing your business responsibly. Because street cred and bragging rights doesn't keep the lights on, I mean, you really do need to look at this as a business and absolutely invest in yourself, of course. But, be mindful that you are a business owner and you are investing in yourself. I can't think of a better thing to bet on, show up for yourself. I think especially as women, I think if you're a mother, if you're doing this and you're, looking at a second career or supplementing some spouse income, you can tend to put yourself last. But this is a time to realize that you're investing in yourself, the classes, the training. When you take on a listing, you're going to spend money. You're investing in your business. And whenever you have a sale, it's wise to set aside some money to reinvest it back in your business. But watch your numbers, because you're right. You can have somebody that looks incredibly successful and their business is ran into the ground, and that's not the result you want either. So I think there's something to be learned from what appears as success. Maybe take a little note from that and say, I'm not going to run my business that way, and it all starts with that framework and that foundation in those early days. So I think that is why it's so important to take a close look at your budget and what you want to spend on your business, and investing of your time and energy. But yeah, I think the mindset trap of comparison to top producers, don't fall into it.
No.
And don't be threatened by it. Guys, there's plenty of business to go around. I think if there's one thing that I guess to kind of wrap up the tone, that I think both you and we've always kind of had the same rhythm about our business. And that's why I respect you so greatly, and how you invest in those around you and how you cheer others on, is that this industry can feel very competitive. And if you're getting into the business, you'll probably look around and there's a lot of other realtors and you're stepping all over each other. And it's, don't be threatened by the person beside of you. If you have an abundance mindset and you are focused on bettering yourself, bettering those around you, everybody leveling up together, you don't have to be threatened by that. I think it's so much more fruitful to be collaborative instead of competitive. And there's a big difference. And you don't see that a lot in this business.
You do not. However, when you're out in the public talking to people and they see that you collaborate with local businesses, government, and with other agents, they respect you and your business. And I have people that come up to me and they're like, I'm trying to be the digital mayor of this community because I want to share all the good things we have going on.
Yes.
A lot of agents don't have that. They are just about the next transaction, and they don't highlight the beautiful things we have here that bring people to our city.
Yeah. I agree. And that, it really, it goes so much further to stay positive and to focus on your growth and to focus on the growth around you than, getting bogged down and competitive with the people side to side. And especially within your own brokerage, like you all level up together.
Yes.
And find people that share that, because if you're fighting against that in your own firm, that's already a bad start. If you're brand new, if you're needing advice on, how to do well and how to get started. But yeah, I think to kind of wrap it up, I think stay positive, keep educating yourself, surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that support your growth, and that support you in a way that you're not afraid to say yes to opportunities, because you're going to have to jump. If you wait to take on your first transaction until you feel like you know everything, you won't. It'll never happen. You kind of learn as you go.
You'll be spending years getting ready to get ready, and you'll not launch yourself.
That's a good way to put it. It's analysis paralysis. And, I think one of the traits that makes a good agent is you do care about the details. You do care about quality. You don't want to mess up. I respect that, but don't let it stop you from doing something. And then this is not a fake it till you make it business, but I do think that you got to start somewhere, and you have to pursue things that feel just a little bigger than you. And that's how you grow. So definitely be encouraged. Comment below, guys, if there's specific topics that you feel like would be helpful for us just to kind of hash out and talk through. Guys, we want to be an open book. I feel like the experience between the two of us, we could share a lot of stories, some of which may scare you guys. So we'll save those for later. But, just be encouraged. As you saw, in your experience of, you get it from one sale your first year, and now look at you now, And I feel like that has come from this mindset of bettering what you do, bettering those around you. And really, instead of saying, look at me, you've said, look at my community, look at all the beauty around us and what we can achieve together. And I feel like that's the secret. That's how you get there. So thanks for joining us. If you're a new agent, if you're thinking about getting your license, drop a comment below and tell us where you're at. We read every single one. If this episode helped you, share it, because there's a new agent out there right now who may need to hear this conversation. And subscribe so you never miss an episode of Real Talk Agent Podcast.